Hello, welcome back. This is Latalia Palmer Lewis bringing you another session of Tea and Me Time with Coach Latalia. And today I have spearmint tea. I've actually been rocking this tea since I started practicing. Oh, I had to do a mock video because YouTube they don't allow videos over 10 minutes, and I did a video that was a bit over 10 minutes. So, all right, see, this is where I got caught up before all the extra talk. But I missed you, and I look forward to just sharing with you today. And I hope that it creates an impact and supports you in some area of your life. And if you think that you know someone who may benefit from hearing this, please share this with them. That would be greatly appreciated. Alrighty, so today's title is What Do You Have in Common with a 7-year-old basketball player? And I know you're probably like, all right, where's she going with this? But this stemmed from a conversation that I had with my 7-year-old son who was on his way to his basketball game. And he looked a little down, so I started talking to him and I said, well, what's going on? And he said, Mom, we're about to play a good team. And I said, that's good, and he looked a little worried. So I said, okay, let me put on my mommy / basketball player hat and pull something out, right? So I asked him, well, what in your mind makes a team a good team? And he said, they have skill, they're fast, and they have good shooters. So I said, okay, fair enough. And then I asked him, well, are you good? Do you think you have skill? And he said, yeah, I have skill. A typical Aries child, right? Nah, I love my Aries. And I said, well, does your team have skill? And he said, yeah, we have some who have skill. I said, okay, fair enough. So I said, are you fast? Yeah. Do you have fast team members? Yeah, he's kind of like bored by now. Like, where are you going with this lady? So I said, and do you have good shooters? And he said, yeah, I'm a pretty good shooter, and there are some other members on my team that are good. And he said, but Mommy, you don't understand. They've never lost. And they have a 7-year-old kid who practices with a SARS team. And Asar is my 11-year-old son. And I looked at him and I said, don't you practice with your brother and his friends? And he said, yeah. I said, do you think you're good when you practice with them? He said, yeah, I'm good. I said, well, baby, one good team is about to meet another good team today. He said, oh, yeah. And you know what? We're only 2-1. I said, huh? He said, we got 2 wins and only 1 loss. I said, that's what I'm talking about. So, he left feeling pretty good about himself. He looked a whole lot better, and his attitude had shifted. And I was really happy about that because I knew that we were more than halfway there. A few things that I did intentionally, and one was that I didn't criticize the other team. I didn't go into, oh, you could beat them, they're nothing, they're crap, you got this. And I did that because, one, I didn't want to lie to him. 2, I didn't want him to feel like he had to criticize or condemn them in order to big his team up, to make him feel like, he was a better player, like he was better than them. I really wanted him, the object was for him to be able to focus on his strengths, what he brought to the game, and what his team brings to the game. And I thought about that, and I thought about us as women in business and working on our passions and our goals. And a lot of times we get caught up in focusing on what the next person is doing. We'll go around and we'll, watch out for mistakes that people made. We'll go so that we can criticize what they're doing, see, where they could have done better. And, I'm all for observing, getting ideas, being inspired, getting tips from people, but bringing it back home and focusing on what you bring to the table as well. Focusing on what your gifts are, what makes you unique, what talents you bring, and what makes you you. Because if you don't, then you're caught up in bringing who you're not and bringing who the other person is not. as opposed to bringing your authentic self. And I hope that that makes sense to you. You're really bringing something that's false or someone that's false because you're proving something or you're caught up in insecurities. And we all get there. You know, we all have that place and space in our life and in our feeling self where we feel like we're not enough. And that's okay. That's okay. The important thing is that you recognize it and you do things to support yourself in building yourself up. So I guess the main thing here is that we learn to create and we learn to give from a space of who we are authentically, not I'm doing this because, you know, I want to prove something to you or because I'm better than you. And what that is, I guess what that reflects is a lack of personal value when we get stuck in that space. So if I would have had him kind of focus on how crappy they are and big himself up, he'd be feeling this false pedestal that sometimes we want to put ourselves on or that we put other people on. And we put other people on that pedestal because, again, we're lacking personal value. And it's easy to do that because it's difficult to recognize when we have a lack of personal value. It's less easy to recognize that as opposed to, let's say, the lack of money or the lack of healthy relationships, whether it be a romantic relationships or, you know, relationship with your family members. And one way to help you is to really look in those areas, you know, to see if you're getting paid the amount that you feel like you should be getting paid, to look at whether or not you have a relationship that honors you and supports your well-being and your growth, to look at whether or not you're in a career that you really want to be in, you know, and those are some indicators as to whether or not, you know, you have a lack of a lack of personal value within yourself. And I get caught up in, I get rolling, so excuse me. So if you find that that's an issue for you, one thing that you can do that I find to be very valuable is to make a list of things that you're strong at, you know, your strong points, your gifts, your talents, things that people have said that they appreciate and admire about you. And don't overlook this. We oftentimes overlook this and just trying to get to the bigger picture. But this is where the energy deficits happen. When we don't look at the things that are valuable about us, because then we give our power to other people, right? And the habit has to shift, and we have to take that personal responsibility to do that. So you want to build that list and really reflect on that list and look at how those things have brought you to where you are in your life, how those things have directly been a result of something good that have happened in your life. So for me, one of my strengths is that I'm very compassionate, very thoughtful. Another is that I relate easily to people. I can be non-judgmental and non-threatening. And so that has helped me gain positions where I might not have had gained because I didn't have the credential. You know, so I had to recognize that as a strength within myself and what that has gotten me in life, right? And then you begin to appreciate yourself. And that's a habit that you want to get into. I'm running up on 9 minutes already. Okay, so you want to learn to appreciate yourself as opposed to condemning yourself. And when you have an opportunity to interpret experiences in your life, reframe them. This was a big one for me. Reframe them, and have a sense of acceptance when you retell your story, and being okay with where you are in the moment. That really, really helps build your value and your self-love, your self-respect, and you'll see the differences in your life. I promise you. But again, be aware. First, be aware, and then take steps to support you in building up your self-value. And always ask yourself, if I'm focusing on the things that I lack, the gifts that I lack, what do I really think I'm going to magnetize in return? Where is this thought going to lead me to? What feeling place is this thought going to lead me to? And what is this feeling going to bring to me in my life, if that makes sense to you? I wanted to break it down so it's practical and applicable for you. Again, I'm running up on 10 minutes. I love you.